welcome to the TMWC Activity Professional Academy's Tip of the Month. My name is Tim Anderson, and today's tip is about setting boundaries in a professional way. As activities professionals, and we tend to take on a lot of different responsibilities, it's one of the main factors that really leads us to burning out in our profession because we tend to take on way more than we should, or we tend to kind of not negotiate the tasks that we take on. A lot of people are kind of shying away or kind of afraid of negotiating because the main concern is, well, I won't look like a team player, or I will be, my boss won't respect me. Actually, the reverse is true. In the professional world, it's actually expected that you negotiate. It's actually expected that we set boundaries, especially as a department head, because and it is actually one of our primary functions as a department head to set boundaries around the work that our department does and doesn't do. This doesn't mean that you have to go around saying no all the time. What it means is that when you say yes to something, make sure you know what you're saying yes to. Now, there are times that you might say, no, I'm not able to take on this responsibility this way because in taking on this responsibility, I'm concerned that it will take away my ability to do something else. And so what that says is it opens up a dialogue between you and whoever the person is asking you to take on a new task, so that you can say, I will take this on, but we need to figure out how I can continue to do the rest of my work too. Second thing is that it ensures that you're able to manage your time effectively. If you are busy taking on a lot of other things throughout the day, you are not going to get any of your own stuff done. And at the end of the day, that creates more stress for you and more stress for your staff. Third thing is that it clarifies your role and responsibility. Remember that in the world of long-term care, activities is one of those ambiguous titles that very few people understand. And so it's our responsibility as activities professionals to educate people what our job description actually is, because most people aren't aware of what we do. And most people have this impression of us that our job is really a lot of fun and excitement and joy. And actually, if that's the way that they're seeing us, that means we're actually doing our job well. So it's a good thing that they see our job as being exciting and fun and enjoyable. At the same time, it's important for us to educate people what it takes for us to make it look that way. All the planning, all the implementing, all of the care planning, all of the therapeutic goal creation, all of those things have to be part of that process, and people need to be aware of what that process is. The other thing that it does by setting boundaries is it keeps you from getting overwhelmed, because as soon as you become overwhelmed, your work starts to suffer, and you want to avoid that at all costs. And in the end, when you set boundaries, believe it or not, you get more done. So I also wanted to take some time to talk about how you could create some boundaries in your workplace. And we're going to focus on 3 different areas today. The first is creating boundaries within your responsibilities. And first of all, ask clarifying questions before you take on a new responsibility. The goal here is whether or not you end up taking on that responsibility, whether you choose to or you end up taking it on anyway as a result of it just needs to get done by you, that you've created a space for that dialogue. The second thing we want to talk about is creating boundaries in your schedule. A couple things you could think about. Schedule your day through blocks as opposed to hour by hour. And this is something I kind of have been learning through a couple of other YouTubers. And I'll put links to their discussions below because I think they're really cool productivity things. That said, I've learned that block scheduling, or even if your blocks are 1-hour blocks, and that's totally okay, try to think about all the things you could get done or that you could accomplish within that time frame. We think sometimes that if we prioritize things or if we block out schedules during the day or something, that we're actually limiting the amount of time, when in reality, when we break up our time into blocks throughout the day and we designate specific things that we're going to do within those time blocks, it actually helps us get more done because we don't get distracted as much by other things. And the third area that we're going to talk about is creating boundaries for your space. I don't know about you, but one of the things that annoys me the most when I come in the morning is when I find stuff on my desk that was not there when I left the night before. If you don't want people leaving finished activities on your desk, make another spot in your office to leave those things, and then schedule time to make those things go away. So that way you don't end up with like the mound of Christmas stuff behind you that like materializes. I don't know if you've ever encountered this before, but like the space behind your desk, this is at least where it happens for me, is you end up with like 50 million pounds of decorations or craft supplies from the last month that just kind of pile and pile and pile and pile and pile. Well, if you don't schedule time to get rid of that, it just continues to get bigger. And if you liked this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and comment, or put a little make sure to hit that little notification bell. If you have not already subscribed, subscribe to this channel and that little red button somewhere up, down, left, right, something like that. And I will see you at the next video.